like to call to order at 6:34 p.m. Do I do the date? Y'all must be mortified to see me here because I'm subbing for Trudy. Hi, Julie, online. Let's do roll call.
That's a good idea. We will start with Vice Chair Sewell,
Here.
Commissioner Anderson, Commissioner Comerford,
Here.
Commissioner Greenlee,
Here.
Commissioner Ocampo,
Present.
Commissioner Sims.
Here.
All right. Nice and loud. All right, we need to adopt the agenda.
So we'll just need a motion and then someone to second that.
I move to adopt the agenda.
I'll second.
Thank you. Do we do roll call? Yeah.
Yes, yeah. We'll just do our roll call to adopt tonight's agenda. Vice Chair Sewell,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson,
Approved.
Commissioner Comerford,
Approve.
Commissioner Greenlee,
Yes.
Commissioner Ocampo,
Aye.
Commissioner Sims.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, the approval of the minutes from May 14th.
All right, just a motion and a second, please.
I motion to approve the minutes from May 14th.
And I second.
Okay. Roll call to approve the minutes of our meeting, not last month, but the month before. Vice Chair Sewell,
I approve.
Commissioner Anderson,
Aye.
Commissioner Comerford,
Aye.
Commissioner Greenlee,
Aye.
Commissioner Ocampo,
Aye.
Commissioner Sims.
Aye.
Thank you.
Do we have any citizen communications tonight, sir?
We do not.
All right. I guess we have a presentation by an intern, which I love.
We do,
Interns.
and I'll give a quick little intro to the intro. So we, as a Park and Rec department, actually haven't had an intern in at least 10 years, I want to say. So it is an honor and a privilege to have Nora Flynn here tonight, who is with us for the summer. So without further ado, I'll pass the mic over to Nora Flynn, and she'll give a quick little introduction about herself.
Hi all, it's nice to be here tonight and to see all of you guys. Just a little bit about me. I'm going into my third year studying environmental science at UC Santa Barbara. I have some previous experience in the public sector, but was looking to expand my experience, and another aspect of that would be to bring a sustainability perspective to the Parks and Recreation team, something that I find super important. And then furthermore, I had a lot of really great memories growing up, going to camps and just being in nature. And I want to help the city of Brisbane continue its already robust and really successful Parks and Rec program. So I'm really happy to be here.
Are we allowed to ask questions?
You are.
Yes.
I brought my bottle. Why Brisbane?
That's a good question. I grew up in Half Moon Bay, so not too far away, but I think that Brisbane is a really unique community. You know, it's a small town and it's right next to San Bruno Mountain, and I really admire its initiative and upkeep of the natural area surrounding Brisbane, not just the mountain, but also the Baylands and all the local parks around town, such as like Firth Canyon, etc. And so I wanted to continue supporting Brisbane's mission here.
Anyone else? Anyone else have questions?
No, just welcome. We're happy to have you.
Thank you.
I was at a meeting with you earlier, I think last week, and already made some good suggestions. So it's really good to have fresh eyes on a problem.
Julie, do you have any questions? All right.
Great. Great. Well, yeah, Nora's already hit the ground running, and we are happy to have her on board the team. So I think we'll move on to old business.
All right, old business, debrief of 6/11/25.
All right, so the old business item in front of you this evening is a debrief from the offsite facilities tour that we conducted last month. Every June, the Park and Rec Commission does an offsite tour of various facilities that are of interest to them, given what's going on in the world around them. And so the commission decided to visit the city's stairways and walkways with the opportunity to view pending projects and have some dialogue about potential improvements and access. So at this time, we just want to give you the opportunity to debrief as a commission in a public setting. And then we will diligently take notes over here, and we can bring this item back to your next meeting if there's additional follow-up that's needed. But just wanted to give you guys the opportunity to share your thoughts collectively and then identify any actionable items moving forward.
Should we start from right to left? You wanna go?
Yeah, I'll start us off. I know we had talked about trying to put in some bushes and greenery along a lot of the paths and trails, the ones that didn't seem like we wanted to have enough space for art or an installation like that. And so I was wondering if we had any progress on identifying the plants that make up the space in front of the pool and Silver Spot, as well as like other maybe local options for more like hardy, sustainable plants rather than things that will be difficult to maintain.
Yeah, I mean, nothing has been done since the last meeting because this is the first opportunity to have dialogue and discussion about it. But I will say from the city's perspective, it is always their intent to plant natives. So, they have good, strong connections with the San Bruno Mountain Watch Nursery. And they always do try to source local and native plants when conducting landscaping projects. So that would continue to be integrated, but if there's specific suggestions about locations or types, we're happy to hear them.
If I could speak to that, I was riding my bike up at San Bruno Mountain. I ran into Mountain Watch, and they are going to be part of our garden tour, and a great opportunity to get information from them. That's the perfect place, and keep your eye out for that. Tying that together. You were there, aren't you? Were you there? You
I
were there.
was, yeah. And I think, Lisa, I'm not going to take yours, but there was one comment you made about accessibility. So maybe I'll just remind you that you'll mention that, I hope, kind of near Firth.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And and then the other thing for me, I think, is just along some of the walkways, making sure we have some sort of plan to keep whatever trees we have and bushes we have cut back appropriately. I think there was a few places where things had gotten overgrown, and so if there's some sort of plan on maintenance that's a little bit more regular, that would be good. That's all for me.
I think my big takeaway is working with the city to continue to have that narrative, working with the Art Commission and what do we call them? Park. Who does all the repairs for walkways and stuff?
Public Works.
Public Works. I can never remember that name. It should be Public Works really hard. I just really love that our different divisions, our different committees are working together to provide this and to provide safe stuff. So I'm keeping my eye on that while being on the park, being on the Arts Commission, seeing those opportunities and tying that together is really my interest. And I loved your idea about putting how steep is this warning signs, kind of like ski lift notifications for being careful. And you love to hike, so I'm going to pass it to you now.
Okay, well, I was really excited to show, because I walk all over this town, to show the group some of the hidden gems that Brisbane has, especially some of our parks and trails that don't normally get a lot of people in them. And I think there's a lot of opportunity. I think we all saw that there's a lot of opportunity to support and beautify these areas rather than just mow, blow, and go as far as maintenance goes, maybe. But I realize that with the city's limited budget, we'll have to be creative about how we make improvements without blowing through a huge budget. I do know that there are people in town. There's definitely San Bruno Mountain Watch, and there's a lot of very avid gardeners, people with extensive knowledge of plants and the environment that could help maybe come up with a plan for some of the areas that we really pointed out could use some attention. And I'd really like to follow up with that. I don't know what the process would be, like what committee that would be, but I'd be happy to, work with the Public Works Department about coming up with a plan for some of the areas that I feel were really neglected. Also, new ideas like maybe parklets, like maybe a picnic table under a tree next to the trail where people could sit and hang out. Not necessarily pitch a party, but just, little parklets that make places more invitable and, inviting. And of course, there's all kinds of great opportunity for art through the Arts Commission. Anyways, I thought it was great. I'd like to move forward with some plans. How does the city suggest that we communicate our ideas?
Yeah, so you do have a Trails Development Subcommittee, which includes Renee, Trudy, and Lisa. So I think that would be the appropriate next step to transfer the conversation there. We could certainly invite representatives from the Public Works Department to come to better understand what the maintenance schedule is and what it includes. And then from there, you could have some discussion regarding potential volunteer projects or how to develop a parklet, and kind of address some of the maintenance issues that were discovered during your offsite facilities tour. But that would be the appropriate next step, my recommendation.
Yeah, it also occurs to me that with our idea of our new nonprofit that we're looking at, we could possibly get some volunteers to take on some areas that maybe Public Works doesn't have the resources or can't throw the resources towards, and it could be some really exciting volunteer opportunities to make those places more beautiful. Anyways, yeah, I'd like to set that meeting when it's appropriate. Okay, so just remind me. Okay.
I like everyone's ideas and contributions. I think on top of it is like the safety, maintenance, as what everyone mentioned, and the accommodations. And obviously like the parklet. I noticed some of us could be not I guess trailblazers where we get tired easily, and having that little bench or that, what you were saying, that parklet, and just to when you're done with the hike, you realize you know how much steps you've already made and just taking it all in. I think that'd be a great idea. And then you mentioned with the what is it, the steep of the incline of the trails would also be helpful. But also just making sure that we keep the natives, maintaining it, but also keeping the area to what it's original, natural, and not disrupting what we have here in Brisbane. And that's it. It's just amazing how many trails we have, though.
Hello, Julie. You weren't there, right? But do you have anything?
Yeah, no, I was sad to miss it. I will say this. I think I like the ideas I'm hearing, and I also just especially like the idea of kind of using some of the expertise that community members have to help develop some of these areas that could use more development. And that might be something that the nonprofit foundation could help build a bridge to that. So that's a really neat idea.
Well, we do have a new Nora. We do have a new intern. She's
true.
gone now, but I think we should put her to work. Noreen and I were talking about as well. There's potential to name these paths now. which I think would be great to come up with really cool names for each path after they're done and finished, maybe have a celebration, so that, the community and the public can find that cool name, that path, and it's part of a branding kind of opportunity.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And also like a sponsorship, right? Like
Yeah, we're gonna NASCAR the thing.
your mascot.
STP way,
F1, yeah.
Hey, if they give us money to do like,
If Brad Pitt shows up,
okay, I'm all in.
all right. Keep it serious, Sewell. Anything else to add?
Just one little
Yeah,
thing.
of course.
I've always imagined with our creative park and rec staff of doing a really cool map of the trails. Oh, did you really?
yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, just a map. So if people want to explore, but they have, they're new in town and they don't know where they are, here's our trail map.
Yeah.
That's great.
I just wrote the same thing down. And just to share with all of you, there have been some conversations from the city manager's office about formalizing some of our trails beyond what they are recognized as just locally now, but also identifying connection points for where residents hop on trails in central Brisbane versus what is a county trail. And oftentimes people cross over private property without realizing it. So we're identifying what those locations are and whether the city can secure some easements to make them more publicly accessible. So those conversations are happening too, and we're happy to loop in the Trails Development Subcommittee as it makes sense to do so.
And also what I learned after hiking the mountain for years is that once you get up to a certain point and you're no longer on the Brisbane side and you get up to the state side, the rules change.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it'd be good to know those. You are now in state park area.
No lifeguard on duty.
No, well, no dogs.
Can
That's
I-
a big one with me.
Just to be empathetic to our neighbor that's getting all that work done, how are they doing?
Karen said that they're doing fine this morning. She mentioned the project in the department head meeting. It's moving along, which is very exciting. I know there was some conversation about a tree having to be removed because of the roots and the proximity to the project site. So they were working through that and resolving that, and it seems that the resident is satisfied with the outcome. So
Thank you. Anything else?
Since Trudy isn't here, I thought I'd mention something that they brought up during the walk, which I think some people have alluded to a little bit, which is about like, what would it look like to sort of guerrilla the trails a little bit, like have individual people, like, it's been mentioned in terms of the adoption, but, without having the police come out or like Trudy mentioned in their story, would there be any path forward to have a city sanctioned but not city sanctioned, or city sanctioned but not city taking care of plants getting placed there, if we didn't want to add that extra load to public works or anything like that?
yeah, I think that would be a great topic to agendize for the subcommittee meeting if we can get public works staff there and have them weigh in on it.
Thanks for speaking for her. That was very thoughtful. I love it.
And also tagging on to something that I think Renee had said is, I don't know how the whole commission would feel about it, but some of our places, like having like benches up in the gully, I know it would take away from the natural feel a little bit. So I can definitely see some drawbacks depending on the direction the community wants to take it. But sometimes walking up into a nice shaded nature area and having a place to sit that isn't the ground could also be nice. So there's pros and cons I think could be discussed as a committee or
Yeah.
subcommittee.
I think placement is very important, not to get into habitat,
Well, we'll be talking a lot about benches when we go to our subcommittees. So it's coming up. Good segue. Anything else, Julie? Anybody?
No, I did enjoy the iguana.
Oh, yeah,
See?
it did move, right? I know.
Since the whole city of Brisbane's watching, can we explain ourselves here? Which path was that?
That was Firth Canyon.
Firth Canyon. There, Brisbane, there's a fake, but maybe alive iguana in the tree.
Yeah, find it.
If you can find it,
If you can find it, I don't know.
We shouldn't have said what trail.
Firth
part of
Canyon, Firth Park. Yeah.
okay. Any new business?
No.
All right, let's move on to reports. Any chairperson reports, I guess, is that me? I just want to say to all of Brisbane that we have an amazing concert this Friday with, what's the
Woo!
name of the band?
Pride and joy.
Pride and Joy, and they've been around
Joy.
since I was in high school.
Yeah.
So come on out and enjoy and buy our merch. We have lots of merch.
Yes.
And that's all I got.
Can I ask a question about the concerts in the park? Like I saw like where you can donate and dedicate a song at certain levels, but how does it work? Like where do you give the information on what you want to donate or what you want to say?
Well, we have the Venmo option. You can write in the description there, and we get access to that. Otherwise, it goes by way of active. There's little notes that you can put into it, and then we get that information.
Okay.
So
I
whether
was
you're
trying
doing
to
it
do
through
it
Active or
today,
Venmo.
and I'm gonna not say in whose honor or why, but I was a little confused. So thank you.
Yeah,
That's
and
cool.
and should you have any other issues with that, let me know, and we can even do another posting to the community if that might be an issue that others experience as well. But to my experience, you should just be able to do it in the notes.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
That's new. I hadn't heard about that. That's cool.
Yeah, for new ways to collect donations.
All right, anything else? All right, subcommittees. Public Art Committee meeting was held on, there's two of them. 6:15.
Tom, your mic's still on, isn't it?
What's that?
Is your mic still on?
Oh, I don't know. Hello.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Public Art Subcommittee held on 6/16/25. I was there. Anyone else there? No, just me? Oh boy. Julie, you weren't there?
I'm feeling like such a laggard. I missed that meeting and another meeting. But no, I'm afraid I wasn't at that one. I was at the one before.
Oh, she could do the one before.
Can you do the one before?
I'm gonna try yes.
Awesome.
I'll start with that one. Okay, so we talked a lot about prioritization at that meeting, and there are lots of potential projects that we are interested in, and we are really circling around actually Firth Park and what we could do there. So one of the main things we were talking about is getting really specific, whether we would need additional community input in determining, what we wanted to focus our efforts on. But I do believe we kind of decided Firth was a good first project, and not even first. I mean, there have been lots of projects, but new project, I should say, to work on. And that's about as far as my memory takes me. I'm sure there's more that I'm missing.
I think this is on. Yeah, we talked a lot about, we talked about making a whole kind of organized document about benches. And if I recall that correctly.
Yeah, so we had a couple of volunteers that were part of the task force for the age-friendly initiative who walked the town and mapped existing benches and identified locations that would be ideal for new benches. In addition to another resident shared a Google map with pins dropped indicating all of the benches throughout Brisbane and all the different areas of Brisbane. So that will be very helpful to the process for the committee in identifying key locations for the bench project moving forward.
And in establishing kind of guidelines on existing benches that are already there and how we can paint them, kind of like our fire hydrant scenario. And then what are the guidelines beyond making new benches and how we're going to, hire artists to do that? And are they going to be local? I mean, there's a lot of issues we have to nail down. When you get into the weeds, it's complicated. And benches needs to be planned out and scripted, really. So a lot of energy around benches, which ties into all the things we've been working on. We also,
And Tom,
yeah.
I'll just add on the bench front. I went to the subcommittee meeting on age-friendly cities, and Trudy was also there, and obviously Parks and Rec staff. And benches were a big topic there. So there's like you said, there's a lot of energy and momentum, and it helps us accomplish a lot of our goals.
Yeah, and it's exciting too. It's gonna be fun. It'd be great to have people walk around and find the benches, explore the benches. So along with the fire hydrants, so it's all kind of tying together and utilizing Madison's information on the fire hydrants too is huge. We also talked about Firth Park a lot, and there's some interesting artwork there that has been there for years, and we discovered something about the turtle, and I'll hand that off to Noreen, and she's extremely passionate about, and now I'm passionate about this turtle. We have a famous turtle in town, so take it away, Noreen.
Sure, thanks, Tom. So the direction from the Public Art Committee was to proceed with a draft RFP that would solicit artists that would revitalize the two existing art pieces there that used to be called the Helix and the Turtle, which we now know are Treeform and Turtle. By some research that was conducted by residents and myself, we learned that those pieces were somewhat mass produced in the 70s. And so there are replicas all throughout the United States of this artist's work. Unfortunately, he has since passed away, but his name is Jim Miller Melberg. If you want to do a Google search of his artwork, there's a Facebook group online that I joined that folks are sharing images of those pieces in existence. And so provided a little bit of history on the pieces for the committee. And ultimately, they decided that they very much appreciated the restoration work that was conducted to get those pieces kind of back into prime condition because they were deteriorating and they needed some repairs to ensure the integrity of the pieces. So we had that work done, and they were coated with a Brisbane green color of paint. And ultimately, the committee decided that they didn't want to further modify them from their original kind of look and feel. And so they've stepped back from soliciting artists to reimagine those pieces and just have elected to leave them in their current restored condition. And so we'll be moving forward with what they have dubbed phase 2 of Firth Park Art and looking at soliciting artists potentially for other art opportunities within Firth, whether that may be revitalizing the tiles that used to say Firth Park at the entrance to the park, or the stairway that's there, or installing some type of decorative fence to separate the park from Glen Park, because traffic there, people can sometimes come speeding down that hill, and it could be a safety hazard for kids running out into the street. So we're going to move forward with other art opportunities in Firth, but ultimately they've decided to leave the tree form and the turtle as they are today.
What a cool story. It's quite a following, people are following, visiting the turtle all over the country. Can we do a road trip to visit other turtles? Not in the
Sure,
budget?
we'll map them out for you.
That's amazing. How do you spell the last name of the artist? I want to look it up.
It's Jim Miller Melberg, Melberg.
Got it.
And can we plug the Facebook page? Is it just his name?
It's fans of Jim Miller Melberg's turtles and other play sculptures.
Oh my gosh. Oh, wow.
You'll
there
probably
you go.
recognize him. He has one in San Francisco, Golden Gate Park.
Okay.
Festival of Lights. Who's on Festival of Lights?
Trudy, Renee, and Natalie.
Myself, yeah,
And
we
I
called
did
online.
use a new note-taking app, so if you did not get my notes, then it was user error. So if you'd like, commissioners, I can also give you my debrief as well. But if you remember a few things, I can fill in the blanks as well.
I'll defer to you, Nicole. Or Renee.
You know, I
Sorry,
think
Renee.
the main thing I remembered from that was a little bit of discussion to, it's the Festival of Lights, a lot of the emphasis is it's around Christmas time. And so to maybe expand that a little bit and perhaps bring in a menorah or maybe even invite, I can't remember what the group that does is it Tai Chi? And so I think that was one thing to consider, just to maybe expand just beyond just the theme of Christmas. I think some of the things that people felt like went well last year, so there's a little bit of discussion about that. The cookies, I think, went over very well, and we ran out. And I will say at that particular evening, I happened to be at a Christmas gathering at a friend's house, and everybody that came into the party late because of the Festival of Lights were complaining about the cookies running out. I didn't mention that in the meeting, but it was tragic for those of them who did not get cookies. And then I think
There was a big turnout though last
yeah, and
year.
I think that's the other
Huge.
thing is that it was one of the biggest turnouts, if not the biggest turnout in a long time.
Mhm.
I think another thing people really liked was, I don't know if it's called a beer garden, but kind of the area where there was kind of an alcohol food area for the adults. I think that goes over well almost every time we have it at something. And so that was well received. And those are the main topics I remember. Anything? I'm sure there's others, but those are the main things.
Yeah, those are the main areas covered. We also spoke to the theme being like unity or community, which last year it was peace. So we can kind of continue on some of those themes, like working with the Lions Club and the peace posters. We would love to have those displayed again at the Sunrise Room. That was a great addition. Continuing with Silver Spot in that area that you mentioned with the fire pits. And then potentially exploring an option, and we had spoken to the install that occurred at Firth Park with the company that came in with that big piece, looking at something that we could use for the middle of the field because everything was kind of on the outside, and that's too intentional because if it's wet and raining, then the grass might be muddy. But if we had one larger element, so that's something that was spoken to and being explored. And then the other element that was mentioned, and I'll share here, is that we discussed the potential of not having the caroling option this year. And that is one that it's kind of, it's come with a number of different things, but because of it, just not continuing and looking at potentially having that kind of all sing element during the lighting of the tree element versus walking down. There's been a number of challenges with that. We've outgrown the initial area, the sound, a variety of things. So you might have noticed the last 2 years when we have delay with Santa coming from the fire station, there's usually a little singing break that occurs there. So potentially being a little bit more intentional with those moments versus the off the cusp. So did just want to share that was brought up at the subcommittee level and looking at proceeding in that direction moving forward. So I think those were kind of some of the high level discussions, and as always appreciate the subcommittee for their ideas, and we did have idea committee representation there, and like you mentioned, our intern was a part of the conversations as well as the subcommittee group. So thank you.
Yeah, I do want to mention, just to point out her idea. I thought her idea was maybe the best idea of the entire meeting, quite frankly. And that was to give people an opportunity and a place to somehow write either their hopes for the next year or their, I think that's the best way, either kind of their hopes or informal prayer or whatever it is you want to call it. And then either write it on like a piece of wood that could be hung on like some sort of a roped tree that then is preserved for a while in that space. which I thought was a great idea.
And
And
of-
she's apparently seen this before. I have too.
I have too.
So,
And of course, with the sustainability
Yeah.
at the forefront.
yeah, yeah.
The only problem I see with having a big thing in the middle is that we sometimes have our flash mob happening or other performances happening in the middle, so there'd have to be some kind of performance space that's maintained.
Absolutely, yes, and that is in consideration.
Okay.
All right, anything else? All good? Moving on to Foundation Feasibility Ad Hoc Subcommittee meeting held on 5/22. Is that all right? Yeah, well, I have to say Julie ran that meeting and it was awesome. So I'm gonna kick it over to you, my friend.
Oh, thank you, Tom. And that was a great gathering. We had lots of folks, and basically one of the things we were really looking at is what to call ourselves. So really looking at our mission, vision, and what we want to name ourselves, and really getting to the essence of what we want this group to be. So we looked at some other organizations, many of the ones that we as commissioners, spoke about and spoke to the folks who started it. And we came up with some really great ideas with the help of ChatGPT later. So there will be more to come. We're looking at a second meeting of this group to include kind of more of the community. So Jessica's been reaching out to folks, and we want to get everyone together who's really interested in getting this off the ground and being part of potentially the leadership. It's looking like August 2nd is probably going to be the day that happens. So obviously, like, if you haven't been in all of these meetings and you're not on the list, let me know. You are absolutely welcome. This next one will be kind of refining and looking at the ideas that we brainstormed at the last meeting, and kind of getting our arms around the ones we particularly like, especially as we include new members of the community in that, as well as deciding the leadership and how we want this group to run. And I think that'll be the next meeting, but I think then future meetings will really get more specific about the projects that we want to put in front of people and get people excited about. So that's kind of where we were at. Really good session, a lot of interest and enthusiasm from the community, which has been really nice to see.
We also have a volunteer lawyer, right? I don't know if we should mention his name, but we have a volunteer so we know the rules and then we can break them. But it's actually really great to have that at the kickoff, because we could go off on a tangent and not be compliant. So great meeting, a lot of fun, energy there, and I hope to do big things.
Yeah, it is exciting, and it is great to have a lawyer present, because he's going to be the one who helps us, dot all our I's and cross the T's and like start the nonprofit, because it's kind of a big undertaking. So I'm really excited to see that happening and to see all the enthusiasm.
Plus, it's cheaper this way.
Yes.
Thank you. Setting of subcommittee meetings.
Through the chair, if I may.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would recommend 3. And the Public Art Advisory Committee is already scheduled for the 21st of this month. Nicole said it would be helpful to have an event subcommittee before the garden tour.
Yes, for
So
sure.
we
And I'd
should
like to
schedule
do that
that.
sooner than later.
Yeah. Do we want to throw out some dates? That's Byron, Lisa, and Tom.
Okay.
That's kind of your baby.
Well, okay. Unfortunately, I am leaving on a business trip the 13th through the 21st. So anytime after, I know that kind of screws, but I could be remote. I don't have to be in person.
Yep.
Oh, geez, sorry. Yeah. Woo,
Scared the chair.
I know. I got to turn that alarm off.
Is that a first?
No, it happens every day. So you guys look at dates and pick something that works for you, and I will zoom in remotely.
I think outside of Mondays and Tuesdays, I have availability most days.
16th, Wednesday? Next Wednesday?
Works for me.
All right.
No,
Okay.
if possible, the Thursday.
Possible Thursday?
17th?
Yep.
Yep, I'm good. Oh, wait, I see a face.
That's Thursday?
Yep, Thursday? Okay.
Thursday the 17th.
What time?
Committee.
What time?
It's just 6?
Okay.
5:30?
Yeah, I've got, yeah. What's good for you? Because you're working.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it? Okay. 6. How's that?
6.
Sold American.
Also, I can do Wednesday as well, so sorry about that. Whatever works. We can talk offline too. But Wednesday or Thursday, and Jovi, we can send a
I think I have a slight
finalizing.
preference for Thursday. I'm available both days, but just convenience.
Okay. I'm good. Thursday.
Thursday?
Stick with
Great.
Thursday.
Okay.
Okay, and then the other one would be the Derby and Day in the Park, because we're starting to plan for that. And that's Byron, Lisa, and Natalie. And I mean, pending vacations, I would suggest maybe early August.
My August is wide open except for the garden tour. Of course, I'll be busy with the garden.
Yeah, I'm the same Monday, Tuesday limitation where the rest of the days are pretty open for me.
Does the 30th of July, is that too early?
What day of the week is that?
It's Wednesday. I mean, we could do it later.
Yeah.
When is the?
Does that work for you, Natalie?
Yes. I could do it virtual though.
Or we could do the 6th. Let's do the,
Isn't
yeah,
that the
6th of August.
Oh no! Why was it
That
being
works
garden
too. After
Okay,
4 o'clock works for me.
on the 6th,
Mm-hmm.
4:30. On the 6th,
4:30?
That works.
What time?
4:30.
4:30? Yeah.
Okay.
And will we be getting emails for both of these?
Yes, Jovi will send
Just making sure.
calendar invites.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, and then the third one is Trails Development. So, and that is Renee, Trudy, and Lisa.
God, it's always me.
Sorry, I am probably out until the well, I know I'm out between the 18th of July to the 7th of August.
Okay,
So
it could be after that.
if we could, yeah, that'd be helpful, because I think I'm kind of packed before then.
Well, after the 16th, I'm wide open, so you guys just pick a date.
Do I need to do this for you people?
All right, how about the 20th? I'm just going on Wednesdays.
Talking August 20th?
Yeah.
Yep, that's fine with me.
Sorry, can we pick a different day? That's my birthday.
Oh,
Oh.
jeez.
Aw.
I love you guys, but
Mine's the
Yeah,
you know.
17th.
Oh my gosh.
We should just do a road tour.
The 21st, is that okay?
that's fine.
Okay,
That's
21st.
that's okay.
Trails Committee.
8:21, and what time?
What do you like?
5 or later, anytime after 5.
5:30?
5:30.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll confirm that works with Trudy,
Mhm.
and then if so, Jovi will send a calendar invite. If not, we can look at other dates.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Did we say 5:30?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Well done. Commissioners have anything to add? We could start behind me. Julie, anything to add tonight?
I don't think so. I think we covered everything on my list.
And from the left,
Nothing from my end.
my other left?
Just looking forward to the garden tour. Everybody come out. It's going to be fun. It's in the middle of August, but I think we'll be on the cusp of autumn, the end of summer, and hopefully everything will look great.
And links are live, so we'll continue to blast those out now, especially. to
Oh, are
those-
they, are we
Mhm,
live? Okay,
mhm.
great. So we can buy tickets. People have been asking me.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah, it's in your email.
It's in my email.
Yep.
Great. Okay, thanks.
Should we do the re-editing the video?
Yeah, I included the video in the email
Nice.
too.
All right, great.
And tickets did sell very quickly last time, which is why we were crafty with what we did in planning this year. So it did sell out. So
Yes, it did sell out. And how many tickets did we sell last year?
90.
90. And this year we've gotten up to 100 at least? or-
We said similar to 90 because we're still going into people's homes and wanting it
That
to be
is true.
manageable.
That is true.
But it was probably like 93 was the official. So sitting in that.
Right.
There's also the potential to utilize ActiveNet and establish a wait list for
Mhm.
Oh,
folks
that's
if
true.
Yes.
they,
Okay.
and because last year we did have a few people who were like, oh, I registered, but I can no longer attend.
Mhm.
And then we had some other folks that were like, oh, I forgot to buy tickets early enough and can I hop in? So there was some swapping happening, but
That's great.
that way we can try to capture additional folks if the opportunity presents itself.
Yeah, that's great.
So the amount of tickets, it's based on how many households participate? Is that how it works?
It was just to make it manageable because it's kind of an influx. You're not having all 90 at your house at one time, but you could potentially have, 15 or 20,
20.
and so wanting to be an open house, so wanting to be mindful of just kind of how that will naturally flow.
How
I
that'll
mean,
work
it
out.
flowed well last time.
And that's
Yeah.
why we were like kind of copy paste to that same model.
And the hours are
10 to 2.
10 to 2,
Mhm.
right? So it's not all day,
Mm-mm.
but yeah, people should plan accordingly. I think we're going to have special pricing for seniors and students.
$10 for seniors, 25 for adults, and children and teens are free.
Wow, that's a great deal.
Is there also special accommodations for the seniors? Like is it like more of like a walkable or is it
It kind of
like a
is what it
shuttle?
is.
Okay.
It's like, yeah.
A golf cart?
Everybody has to kind of make their own way, but, maybe on the map this year, we could warn people if things are going to be really steep.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we had listed on our map last year, like which ones had stairs, and
Good idea,
we
yeah.
can continue to
Because there
make
is
those notes.
one garden in particular I'm thinking of that is very steep, but very worthy.
Mhm.
But yeah, you wouldn't want to go down that if you had any mobility issues. So,
Absolutely.
okay.
Yes, Julie.
Julie?
I just want to press a little bit on the 90-person cap, and just because I want as many people as possible to experience the garden tour. And so I wonder if we could bring it to 100 if we kind of had two different maps. Like one has them starting at the first place, and then half of them have them starting at the last place, because I felt like it dropped off a little bit as you got further along, and you just don't want a bunch of people at the first place, but you could kind of encourage different starting points.
Like Group A and Group B.
Yes.
Really interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah, we appreciate that. And then with our newly established events subcommittee meeting, we can finalize those details. But absolutely, we can look into that.
And I did talk to the Lions Club last night about them helping and us sponsoring their scholarship fund this year. Okay. Next year we might be doing the foundation. But this year, yeah, we're gonna support them, and they should be helping us with check-in and coordinating more with them. I need to talk to you about that in the meeting. Okay.
All right, moving on. I've said enough tonight, so Renee, do you have anything?
Just a reminder for the concerts in the park this Friday. It's a warm evening.
No wind.
Nice.
So far.
Yeah.
All right, Bono.
He's got to go look up who he is.
After this, I wanted to do one more check-in on in terms of the trails and stuff that's going to happen at the Trails Committee, and then will we have the results of that for our next meeting and like what's decided there, and then we'll take action as a committee after that point. Sounds good?
Yep.
Cool. Want to just make sure everyone is on the same status on that before we adjourn.
Mhm.
All right, thank you. Staff, do you have any updates?
You know, I always have a minor department report, so we'll breeze through it. Just so you know, we have a number of things going on this summer. Preschool camps, our club rec camp, and we are moving through the wait list. So we actually took over our amount this week, and then on week 6, we can take up to 120 campers, which normally our cap is 90. So we are working, and when I say we, I mean Jovi and Angela are working their tails off to get more folks accommodated into camp, and it's been going really, really well. Speaking of going swimmingly, swim lessons are off and going great. We've received a number of great feedback from participants. Those happen Monday through Thursday and as well as on the weekend. Our LIT program is in full force with the most LITs, our leader in training, that we have had. I think we're up to 40 total LITs, and they get split up about 10 per week. And that's a variety of... Sorry about that.
You too.
Things. Yeah. And then Dink and Dunk Camp is back in action, and we have 3 weeks of that with about 17 teens in those weeks of camp. We did just have a teen night the other week. I believe it was a week or two ago. There was 24 teens at the Sunrise Room, which was our highest in a long while, if at all. And then we have a new Aqua Fit program. It's through Fast Fitness, and that's on Tuesday mornings. And that first class had 17 in it. So in addition to our already well-established wonderful water aerobics class that occurs on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So just so you know that is there, and we're continuing to program new classes. We mentioned summer concert kickoff, so I won't say more there, but it is Park and Rec month this July. So this week is citywide yard sale. There's also a pool beach bash that's on Saturday at the pool. In collaboration with the library, there's a cave sim, which is a cave simulation in Community Park, Monday, July 21st. There is the 24th, kind of a big day. We have a community build, which goes in theme and per recommendations that the commission had of going along with the theme of NRPA, of their together we build and build together, play together. So we'll have a company that'll come out with a number of Legos and orchestrate a community build for Brisbane. So that'll be exciting. That's on July 24th. That'll be at the same time as the farmers market, as well as our s'mores event that evening. So come on out and build. And then, of course, our concerts in the park on the 25th. We have done a number of meetings with the Age Friendly, and I think a lot of that was mentioned today. But we have a whole list of projects, and we've narrowed it down to 30 out of 60 that we are starting to focus on. So making progress. And then final upcoming events, there is a 25th anniversary pool party, August 15th. It's also kind of like a Y2K theme over at the pool. There's a senior casino trip, July 15th. There's another trip on the 28th, the garden tour on the 16th, and then save the date for Day in the Park in Derby.
Wow,
Get excited.
so cool. You guys are amazing, by the way. Commission matters. Any written communications, Jovi?
No, Tom.
Thank goodness. Though we do. Okay. Brisbane, come on out. Send in your stuff, your communications.
Bring us your ideas.
I'd like to say that. Can we adjourn? I'd like to say that this is probably the quickest meeting we've ever had under my command.
It's pretty quick. Yes. Under an hour.
No, but thanks everybody. Julie, thank you. I hope you're having fun.
Just call
Awesome. Well done, Tom.
Thank you.
just call the time, Tom.
Yep.
Oh, it is 7. I'm gonna wait for 7:30. No,
we
7:29.
can't
Good
wait.
night. Cut.
Thank you.
Bye,
Great
We're already
job.
under an hour.
You did it. You almost got us an hour and 1 minute.